to the stream. Hey, little baby. Today we're going to be discussing essentially toxic positivity and the toxicity of the whole good vibes only trend. I'm not even sure exactly what to call it. If you're watching this live on Twitch, please join the conversation. This is a safe space. If you are catching the replay on YouTube, I don't know why I can never remember this YouTube. On YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. Your free support for this channel is deeply appreciated. And of course, share this channel, share this video. If something resonates with you, if you have questions, if you want to, again, join the conversation even after the replay is posted, please do so in the comment section on YouTube. If you'd like to contact me directly, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me here on YouTube, you can find me here on Twitch. Also, my email address is always going to be posted in the description of all of my YouTube videos. If you ever want to actually speak to me physically directly, you can contact me there. If you want to work with me, you can visit my website. The link is in my bio of my TikTok page. Alright, so let's get into it. So, good vibes only. This is something that has basically been kind of sold to us as like the umbrella term of healing and even kind of spirituality a little bit. And it sounds great. It really does. Good vibes only, you know? It sounds great. But it really, really avoids a whole entire aspect of healing. I mean, arguably one of the largest aspects of healing. You know, I know that people have this sort of romanticized view on healing and spirituality and things like that. And that's good to a certain extent because it kind of pushes people to be more interested in it. But let's not confuse people's interest with, you know, capitalism. Because happiness sells, right? Positivity sells. Talking about things that make you uncomfortable doesn't sell. Essentially, you know, the good vibes only is like the sexy side of healing. And again, there's a portion to that, but it's almost as if that good vibes only phrase is there to combat someone who says, you know, they're depressed. So they're met with, no, just think positively. All you gotta do is think positively. Just speak positivity into your life. That's all you gotta do. It's just that easy. And then all of a sudden the person who's depressed is like, yo, I'm cured. Oh my goodness, who thought? Who would have thunk all I had to do was think more positively? Which is totally, you know, subjective. But one of the primary reasons why the good vibes only phrase, belief, what have you, is so detrimental is because, like I said, it avoids an entire aspect of healing. So let me give you an example. I'm a victim of domestic violence. In my previous relationship, which was for 4 years, something I could never discuss with my partner. I did tell him about it, he's aware that it happened, but I couldn't actually have a discussion about, hey Wise, good morning, welcome in. Thank you, love, I appreciate you. I could never actually have a conversation with him about like how the situation made me feel. Captain Coda, welcome in. Could never have a conversation with him about the topic because if I brought it up, then he would say, good morning, Fergie. Y'all are here, oh my goodness. Hello. If I ever brought up the topic of, you know, the fact that I was in an abusive relationship and a victim of domestic violence, he would say, I don't want to talk about that because it makes you sad. Now, there's a part of that that's, you know, his truth, and I understand to a certain extent. However, it completely invalidates how I'm feeling. Even if it was uncomfortable for him to discuss because it made me sad, he could have said that, you know, I have a really difficult time discussing these kinds of things. And, you know, then we could have kind of inched along from there. I maybe could have said, and I wasn't the best communicator at that time either, but I maybe could have said, you know, here's what I need from you right now. I just need you to just listen. What's the topic? Relationship? No, we're talking about, oh no, I forgot to change my background. Today we're talking about, we're talking about the toxicity of the good vibes only kind of belief. Let me change this real fast. Hold on, y'all, I can't see chat for 1 second. Oops. Oopsie, I spelled that wrong. I'm trying to be fast. No, why does this always change? Hold on, y'all. I can't. Oh, I know, baby. I know. I'm in Canva. What did I call this? Oh, it's not here. What did I call this? Oh, okay. Thanks for your patience. Alright, so anywho, what do you want? Okay, cool. Thank you, browser. So, Captain Coda, thank you for the follow, love. Alright, so, toxic, good vibes only, and its toxicity, right? So, I bring this to his attention and I say, this is something that I experienced, and it's I didn't go to therapy for it. There we go. I didn't yet. At the time, I hadn't gone to therapy for it. I hadn't done anything. I just experienced it. I couldn't talk to my mom about it because she's completely emotionally unavailable, even though she herself had been a victim of domestic violence, right? So here I am as this person who experienced this trauma, and I just want a safe space to talk about it. So naturally, typically, the space in which we feel is the safest is the space with our partner. So I completely, he says, I don't want to talk about it if it makes you sad. So later in our relationship, we actually got a therapist, a relationship therapist for a little while, and she shared, kind of both of our issues, or the problem with both of our sides of the situation. She shared that from his side, he shouldn't have just dismissed a concern that I brought to him, you know what I mean, by saying that he doesn't want to talk about it because it makes me sad. And from my perspective, or my side, she said, a better approach would have been to let him know exactly what you needed from him. I need you to just listen. I need you to comfort me, physically comfort me. And I had no idea what I needed at the time. But I could have started off with, hey, I just would like you to just listen. You don't have to fix anything, obviously, because it already happened, so there's really nothing that you can fix. But I've never had the chance to just talk about it and talk about the way it made me feel. Talk about the fact that, for months after it happened, I would see someone walking down the street and I would assume that it was my ex. I would assume it was the man who abused me. For months, I don't even know what that's called. I don't even know. Is that PTSD? I don't know. Is it anxiety? I don't know. But I was on edge, bless you, for months. And it didn't help that a month or so after, he showed up at my job. This was a whole event for me. And it wasn't just the event and it was over. It was the lingering effects of it. You know what I mean? So, it wasn't up until the past year or so that I actually had a chance to speak to a therapist about the situation and, get some healing for it. We actually did some EMDR therapy because I found out that I was holding on to all of this trauma physically in my body. It was a lot. So, oh my goodness, I spelled good vibes only wrong. me trying to be fast, spelling things incorrectly. The struggle is real this morning, okay? The struggle is real. Yes, little baby. The struggle is super real. You didn't even tell me, Kairu. You didn't even tell me that I spelled that incorrectly. So here I am as this person who's, again, trying to confide in my partner about something that deeply bothers me, and them just completely avoiding it. Now, it also didn't help that my partner came from an emotionally stagnant or non-existent home. You know what I mean? He was never, I don't know. He didn't grow up with learning how to discuss emotions or really discuss anything. So Captain Coda says good vibes only is indeed toxic. For me, those people are always happy and their streams are fake. I know it's good to share good vibes with your viewers, but sometimes you gotta show that you have other feelings too. Exactly. Yes, Captain Coda. We are human. We are dynamic beings, and we experience a variety of emotions. Now, I agree with what Catherine is saying as far as it's great to be able to be a positive light, and my friends and my viewers thank me for it, you know, for being a light and for sharing love and things like that, but that's not the only emotion that I have in my body. You know, you definitely have other feelings too. And it's funny because this mentality usually kind of attacks those who have other feelings. For example, let's say that I was playing like Call of Duty or something right now, some first person shooter, or really any video game, and I got really frustrated and I started like raging or just getting really frustrated and getting really upset. The first thing people would tell me to do is like, yo, we don't need that energy here. You know what I mean? That energy is not welcome. Yes, little baby. Ooh, the energy is not welcome. We don't want to be around that. You know, and that might deter some people. Now, I can understand if I was doing that for like an entire hour, that might be kind of, especially if people were trying to console me and I just wasn't even resonating with anyone trying to converse with me or console me or, you know, let me know that it would be good for me to calm down. But there aren't going to be very many people who are saying, hey, what you're feeling is totally valid. You know what I mean? I'd be pissed if, you know, I lost that way too, or I'd be upset if blah, 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 blah happened to me too. And sometimes it's really all it takes to validate someone's feelings and to not push the good vibes only narrative. Wise Jones says, maybe it's my age, but good vibes only means something different to me. Tell me, Wise, what does that mean for you? Because if you're here, you are a part of this conversation, and it matters, you know what I mean? And I would love to hear it. As I mentioned before, a lot of times it feels like good vibes only is a way to kind of push that facade of healing, because again, positivity sells. You know, it's the sexy part of healing. Really, it means no gossip or beating up on people. Ah, okay. I understand that. I definitely understand that. And I feel, yeah, I definitely understand that. I can see that layer of it. Yeah, I feel like that in that way, Jones, that means that the space is, yeah, like it's a healing space. Like, I feel like good vibes only to you is like, this is a safe space. If really it means no gossip or beating up on people. Captain Coda says, that's the point of video games. You gotta rage a little, laugh a little, cry too. For me, I think video games are made for showing and embracing your emotions. Absolutely, right? Especially when we're playing casually, you know? A lot of times we see these gamers who are playing in, you know, big high stakes competitions, and they are stone-faced, you know? But I recognize that that's also because, similar to, you know, poker or a chess game or something, your emotions are going to tell your opponent how you're doing in the game. So I can understand, because they're on camera, you know, so I can recognize why they would want to be a little bit stone-faced and not so expressive. But I agree. Wise Jones says, like, conversations about health or healing is welcome. I totally understand what you're saying. Wise Jones says, sharing bad experiences or needing a bonding time with friends to cry or expressing isn't negative. Exactly. And, that's another issue, is that emotions are not inherently positive or negative. They just are. Our emotions just exist. They may make us feel uncomfortable, but even sometimes happiness can be uncomfortable, right? Like a surprise is sometimes uncomfortable. It's not a negative emotion, but it can be uncomfortable, even if it's just momentarily. But the belief that, sadness is negative, whereas more so what Captain shared, sadness is necessary. We need some sadness in our lives. Like, we are going to be sad, even if it doesn't last, an entire day, an entire week, an entire month, an entire year. We have moments of sadness. I mean, it could be something as simple as you go to a vending machine and your favorite snack isn't there. You're going to experience a moment of sadness. It doesn't have to be the extreme of, sadness and depression are the same thing. Depression is something chemically off in your body and brain and endocrine system. That's what depression is. That's what causes its prolonged effects. Sadness could be long, but it's not going to last for a lengthy amount of time. Captain says, yes, Wise Jones, but some people misunderstood it. Yeah, I agree that good vibes only has definitely been misunderstood. And, a lot of times people will use different phrases to benefit them. It could be that many people resonate with good vibes only, meaning this is a safe space. You can come as you are. You can discuss your feelings. You can, experience your dynamic emotions, and no one here is going to say, oh my goodness, that person's doing too much, yada, yada, yada. The biggest thing is when people use good vibes only as a way to silence or diminish or push away or push down anyone who is experiencing any type of different emotion. Sometimes it's one of those kinds of things where, someone will be streaming and, they're like, good vibes only, and someone comes in and say that they have a rough day, and people are jumping all over this person saying, nah, good vibes only. We don't want to talk about that. And it really speaks to the emotional intelligence and the emotional availability of a lot of people today. We don't want to discuss when someone is having a bad day because we feel that it'll somehow make us have a bad day. I don't know. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it is, but I understand that there's a level of discomfort, right? If someone says that you're having a bad day, sometimes it's because we know that we can't fix that person's bad day, but it's not necessarily our role. You know what I mean? Right. Okay, so Captain Coda says, the other day I joined a girl stream with the good vibes only tag, and when she asked me how I was, I said I'm not doing okay, without saying anything else. And they first said, sorry, but this is a positive vibes only. And then I got banned? Wow. See, so that's frustrating, because if you are believing what Wise Jones is saying as far as good vibes only just mean, that you will be ridiculed and it's a safe space, and then something like this happens, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Wise Jones says, but if all your days are bad and you are never happy, some deeper issues are going on. Absolutely, and that's what I mentioned about depression, right? Because depression involves a chemical imbalance in which all of your days are bad. But if you are grieving, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are depressed. You are experiencing grief, and you might go through a very long period of sadness depending on who you're grieving, or just depending on you as a person, because everyone experiences grief differently and it comes in waves. But consider this, if the primary purpose of my stream was to talk about grief, there might be a lot of days in which I come on stream and I'm sad because I'm discussing my grief. Captain Coda says, no joke. Marlis Fergie says, that's ridiculous. It really, really is. I mean, that's a really that's a really surface level reason to ban someone. If you say that you're not okay, it wasn't like you came in and said, I'm not even going to entertain what you could have said in order to possibly get banned. Because, wow. And that's hurtful. And some people are very emotionally open, and they come to Twitch to seek a safe space. And I'm assuming, similar to what Wise Jones said, if I go into a stream that says good vibes only, I'm going to be met with safety, you know, not someone saying you not being okay is not okay. That's so invalidating. And we already get that from everyone else in our lives. You know, there's so many times in which people ask you how you're doing, and legitimately they only want you to say that you're okay or up. And then on the other side of that, if you say that you're doing phenomenal and you go into detail about how great you're feeling and why and all these things that are going great for you lately, then sometimes people have a problem with that too. You know, what are you supposed to do if you can't be too happy, because people have a problem with it, and then you can't be anything other than okay, you know, the other side of the emotional spectrum, the emotional scale? What are you supposed to do? Captain said, sorry, I'm back. My internet died for a moment. No worries, love. Wise Jones says, you can't take people on the internet serious because they are anonymous. So they will behave in ways they wouldn't face to face. But that's not always true. I mean, I deeply believe that you have to take people's actions and behaviors at higher value than you should their words. The fact of the matter is, though, if Captain really just needed someone to speak to, you know, or just to literally say that they weren't feeling okay, even if they didn't need anybody to speak to, even if they didn't want to elaborate, even if they just wanted to answer the question honestly and say, you know what, right now, today, I'm not feeling okay. You know, I got to get new brakes and new tires for my car, and my check engine light is on. I'm not okay. You know, even if that's the only thing that was going on, not only thing, but again, even if they just wanted to express that they weren't doing okay in that moment, and then immediately they're banned, like, what, how, where do you go from there? You know, and what if the stream was otherwise great and it just got to the point where they asked Captain, you know, how they were doing, and then they were banned. That's crap. That's such crap. Captain says, I just answered the question, got banned. Now I'm careful what I say when I join Good Vibes Only streams. Right. I totally understand. And see, that's frustrating. And again, this is a great example, you know, how I view that term and how Wise Jones views that term, because that could absolutely differentiate, you know, whether or not I enter a stream with that title, whether or not I believe that, because imagine if that stream said good vibes only and safe space, and then they behaved in that way, that makes them completely contradictory. Because if you're banning me just because I'm answering a question, honestly, this isn't a safe space, you know. But sometimes we have to face ourselves and admit when we are not emotionally intelligent to handle someone's emotions when they're not feeling okay. Wise Jones says it's all about perspectives. What do you mean, Wise? Tell me a little bit more about that. Yeah. Captain Cody says, what do you mean? Yeah, I would like to know too. The good vibes only and the toxic positivity really resonates and hits home for me, because I am, or have been considered, the strong one, the stable one, the person who's always good and taking care of business and really doesn't need anything from anyone emotionally. Why? Because my mother raised me, and she herself is extremely emotionally unavailable. So I tend not to wear my emotions on my sleeve all the time. It depends on who I'm around. Like, I know who I can be safe with. But I've also found a lot of Twitch streams in which I could just be myself. We had really great conversations, and it was amazing, and I loved it. But I don't know. I don't necessarily go into those streams with the belief that I need to be given a safe space, but I do go into those streams with the intent of just expressing my emotions. Wise Jones says, some don't understand what the terms positive and negative applies to the term good vibes is based on how people perceive what that is. I agree with your saying. I totally agree with your saying. My argument is that more humans need to be emotionally intelligent. Point blank, period. That is my argument. That is my belief, is that more humans need to be emotionally intelligent. And we just need to do better, we just need to do better. And I just can't get over the reaction or the response of Captain Coda saying, I'm not okay today, and then getting banned. Excuse me. Wise Jones says, where do they learn to be emotionally intelligent? Honestly, I believe that emotional intelligence comes from situations that make you uncomfortable, conversations that make you uncomfortable. If someone's just saying that they are not okay and that makes you uncomfortable, you need to figure out why. Why does someone literally not being okay, just not being happy, not being whatever in that moment, why is that such a trigger for you? And you need to dive in. Wise John says, who is teaching and guiding them? Me. I'm right here. I'm all for teaching. I'm all for guiding. But honestly, if you look for someone to teach you and guide you, you will find someone. The biggest thing about being taught and guided by anyone is to continue to ask questions. That's the biggest thing. Because I'm not going to say that I know everything about everything. However, if I don't know something, I'm down to look it up. I'm down to research. I'm down to offer multiple perspectives. I'm down to share with someone else and get their perspective on it. The only thing we really have to be leery of is if one person is saying that their way is the only truth and the only way, and they deeply believe that, and if they are sharing with you that no one else could possibly know more about this than they do, because that's just not true. There hasn't been an original idea in the universe in hundreds of years. This conversation isn't new. Toxic positivity, maybe it was called something different, 100 years ago, but it's not anything new. It really is just the practice of pushing aside people's feelings if they don't feel, maybe as if they're going to impact you in a certain way, because essentially if someone tells you that they're feeling good or they're feeling okay, you don't really have to offer any follow-up. You could, and I do, why just okay? Tell me a little bit more, if it's something more than that. I'm feeling great. Awesome. Tell me what's making you feel great today. It might just be today. It might have just been one single solitary moment, that made you feel great. But having those discussions and digging in, I believe, is what supports higher levels of emotional intelligence. When we just accept what people say and we don't dig in and we don't ask questions, not only does it not help us become more, hey love, and not only does it not help us become more emotionally intelligent, but also asking more questions can help that person too. Because for those of us on the other side of it, who want to gain emotional intelligence but are seeking the support of somebody else, being asked more questions about their emotional state can help them dig in and understand, or help them dig in and question, why am I just feeling okay today? Why is that the word that I chose to describe what I'm feeling? Is it because I really don't know any other words? Is it because I've never practiced naming my emotions before? Is it because, just my vocabulary in that area is kind of sparse, and none of those things are a problem. But all of those things can point towards, you opening your eyes and opening your ears and opening your mind and your heart. Wise Jones says, do you think the world lacks compassion? I don't know. I haven't traveled enough in order to really give a perspective of the world. All I can really discuss is what I'm exposed to, which is kind of what I choose to be exposed to. Yes, my world. I would say in my world, no, but I believe that's because I interact with people who are compassionate, Oh, okay, I got you. I meant your world. No, I don't believe my world lacks compassion. I believe that there are people in my world who lack compassion, but I believe the people who I choose to interact with the most do not lack compassion, and that's the reason why I choose to interact with them. Now, if I zoom out a little bit and I think about, people that I just see on my For You page on TikTok, or on Facebook, then yes, I would say yes. I would say, based on the mom group that I'm in, and I'm trying to think of the interactions that have the most people, then I would say yes. Because the posts from the mom group that I'm in have nothing to do with, my likes and things like that. Kelly Crocodile says, I feel the people to interact with the most speak on how we feel about ourselves, mirroring thoughts, etc. Yes. Wise Jones says, what I see with my eyes and read, it seems compassion is taking a back seat. I could absolutely see where both of you are coming from. I agree with what Callie is saying as far as people we choose to interact with mirror our thoughts and feelings. Typically, if we are not feeling okay, we kind of want to share that with other people in hopes that they also aren't feeling okay so that they can share that with us. But I agree that compassion is taking a back seat. I believe that many people, based on how their parents grew up, are still moving through this world and through this realm with a very survivalist mentality. And a lot of people still deeply believe, especially in the Black community, that if you have your quote-unquote needs met, then you should just be good. If you have, I just talked about it yesterday, if you have a roof over your head, if you have food in your belly, if you have clothes on your back, then you should be happy, blank period. And they're not accounting for any type of emotional aspect at all. Wise John said, how our actions can affect others. Exactly. So we are moving through this world, and when people share a problem or an issue, often other people's response is, just get over it, or you should have known better, or how could you allow something that small to upset you? And yeah, the compassion is taking a back seat. We are pushing what people are feeling to the side. We're disregarding the human part of it. And I don't know if that's, I feel like that's intrapersonal skills. I think it's interpersonal skills is how we interact with each other. But I don't know what that's a result of. I mean, a lot of people have made the argument that our interpersonal skills, and correct me if that's not the right word, have began to diminish the more we have used computers. But the more that I use computers and technology, the more exposure I have to the wide range of emotions and thoughts and opinions that people have and people share. So that argument doesn't resonate with me. I can understand what people are saying in that, not being face-to-face with people is causing our interpersonal skills to diminish, but I don't believe that I had the best interpersonal skills when I was interacting with more people, quote-unquote, face-to-face. Wise Jones says, I try to show up for my tribe as much as possible, even though emotionally at times I am on crutches, but the folks who need me are in emotional wheelchairs. Right. And what you're saying, Wise, is I think the best... It's great to do your best to show up for people, but if you yourself are not emotionally available, but you have every right to not be emotionally available 24/7, it's best that people in your tribe have more than one person to confide in and to go to for support, because if it's just you, that's a lot draining out of your cup. Kelly Crocodile says, you before anyone else, inner before outer. Absolutely. Because we cannot be a pillar of support for anyone around us if we ourselves are not taking care of ourselves. What are the things that are causing us to feel imbalanced? Not so much emotionally unavailable, because that can be anything. Being a mother is emotionally draining, mentally draining. Working in certain jobs is emotionally draining. Being a husband or a wife is emotionally draining. All of those things are, and some days those things drain us more than others. But first of all, just being aware of the fact that you aren't emotionally available enough to have a conversation with someone, that's huge. Just being able to say, what you're feeling right now is completely valid, but I don't have the mental capacity to, dig in and offer further support. Here's someone else I know that could. Or, can we revisit this conversation tomorrow? Bryce Jones says, oh, my Master Yoda moment is coming soon. Solitude to recharge. Absolutely. I remember you just mentioning the other day that you've been working super hard and barely sleeping. So, yeah, taking care of yourself is absolutely first. And I could kind of see how the good vibes only people are maybe using that as a mask to care for themselves first or put themselves first. But caring for yourself is not just avoiding all the things, again, that make you uncomfortable, because that's an aspect of yourself. There are going to be things that you do that make you uncomfortable. Years ago when I was deeply passive aggressive, like very passive aggressive, it made me uncomfortable. I had to realize that I was the only person that was uncomfortable, even though I was expecting my partner to just read my mind and understand what I need based on the fact that I was in a funky mood. That shit didn't work. Kelly Crocodile says, taking care of others before yourself is also a coping mechanism. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Putting others' needs at the top of your list and at the forefront and pushing all of your needs to the side is a way for you to avoid taking care of yourself, because it's probably easier to take care of someone else. I mean, consider the fact that you can just give someone a piece of, Kelly Crocodile says it's an escape. Consider the fact that you can just give someone a piece of advice and then go about your day. You can't just do that for yourself. You have to confront yourself. You have to consider whether or not that advice, you've been following through with that advice. Have you been doing the things that you said you were going to do? Did you stick to your commitment? There's a lot more mental energy, there's a lot more emotional energy that goes into caring for yourself and ensuring that you are okay versus the people around you. So again, the good vibes only, toxic facade could also be used as an escape and a coping mechanism, because if you avoid all things that make you uncomfortable, or you avoid all things that you consider negative, you get to move through the world in what feels like, or maybe what seems like, or maybe you perceive as, a super positive space. And only good things can happen to you when you're positive. Good morning, Spudwish. Welcome in, my love. And I think that's a huge part of it, too. People believe that good vibes only has to do with manifesting, that I am only attracting good things because I am only surrounding myself with good vibes. But if you believe that good vibes only is, the best way to be and the best way to live and the most beneficial for everyone involved, but you make a mistake, what happens? Typically, you continue to make that mistake over and over and over. That lesson shows up in different people, in different situations, over and over and over, because you've never actually confronted the issue, because confronting the issue would mean that you're moving out of your good vibes only belief system. So you just keep experiencing the same issue, and you believe that if you just keep saying good vibes only, I'm only attracting good vibes only, then some way, somehow this problem is just going to solve itself. Kelly Crocodile says, mirror the energetic loops. Exactly. You get stuck in this loop, because you're never actually confronting what you need to confront, because the confrontation feels like something that's outside of good vibes only, But the truth is, we need that outside portion, That's what shadow work is. Shadow work, which sounds super scary in the quote-unquote spiritual and healing aspect of it, is confronting the things that make you uncomfortable, confronting those aspects of yourself that bring harm to others or discomfort for others, or like Wise Jones was mentioning, a lack of compassion. Addressing your lack of compassion is shadow work, because 9 times out of 10, if you're lacking compassion for others, you're lacking compassion for yourself. Kelly Crocodile says, without shadow work, yeah, most people don't like shadow work. Hello, yo. Spudwitch says, confronting the things you try to hide is the hardest thing ever. Yes. And again, like Kelly Crocodile mentioned, you will get stuck in that loop, and even if you don't confront it, it will be back. Those people who say, I don't know why I always end up with people who are emotionally unavailable in relationships. I don't know why I always end up with narcissistic people. I don't know why I always end up with insert whatever here. Spudwitch says, facts. Exactly. It just keeps happening, and a lot of people don't realize or don't zoom out to acknowledge the fact that if you are the person always attracting narcissists and you've had 5 narcissistic partners, you are the common denominator in that equation. Now, this is not to take away of the fact that these people are indeed narcissists. It's to help you see that there is something that you are doing, something that you were accepting, something that you are ignoring, that's allowing these people to come into your life. Oh no, all I'm doing is believing good vibes only. All I'm doing is, making sure that I'm being super positive and doing all of these things. No, you are not acknowledging the red flags that this person is showing early on. Why? Because all of those things that happen to us regularly, they feel safe, and they make us feel comfortable because we've experienced them before. Our brain tells us that when we experience these things over and over and over again, when these things continue to happen, when we are used to something, that it is safe. When something happens often and something feels common, it tells our brain that it is safe. So naturally, your brain is going to seek out the same patterns in people as it did previously, because that's what feels safe. But you have to acknowledge, bye babe, love you, have a good day. We have to acknowledge that the repetitive, that there are certain things that are common to us and that feel safe to us that we are used to that are not safe, and that's where zooming out and saying, what are the things that I am doing? Not what are the things I recognize in other people, which could be a part of it, but what are the things that I am doing that is the same? Wise Jones says, I work entirely too much these days. I know. Just from that one comment about you not sleeping, I'm completely aware. Yes. Okay, beloveds, it is 7:25 Pacific, and I've got to wrap this conversation up because my other child's going to be up soon, and I got to get him ready for his class session. This has been a wonderful conversation. As I mentioned, no, you can't go. But Wise, I have to go. Wise, you can message me. I just got to stop my stream. As I mentioned yesterday, if you are someone who has been a, what's the word? If you have been, what's the word? I can't think of it. If you've been damaged by toxic positivity, you may be entitled for compensation. If you ever need someone to speak with, whether it be just a listening ear, someone to vent with, I am here. If you're coming across this replay on YouTube, or if you're watching me live on Twitch, or a replay on Twitch, whatever, I will absolutely be that person for you. As a life coach, specifically, the people that I like to work with are Black women. However, I'm down to help everyone. Once again, you can contact me here on Twitch. You can send me a whisper. If you're contacting me on, if you're watching this on YouTube, my email address is always going to be in the description of my videos. You can find me on TikTok if you want to check out some of my daily videos. Would you listen to it? No, you're good. You got them? Okay. Oh, thank you, Spuddy. It's the lighting. This is what good lighting does for your skin, y'all. It's dark in this room. I only have one light source, which is the one in front of me, or like in front of my camera. This is what it does for your skin. All you need is good lighting. That's it. Nothing else. Oh, thank you for the kisses. I'll see you later. But anywho, if you need someone, I'm here for you. I am here for you. If you're interested in working with me as a life coach client, contact me any of the ways that you'd like. If you visit my TikTok, you can hit the link in my bio and visit my website. If you visit my Instagram, same thing. I'm just not very active on Instagram, but Instagram DMs are a lot better than TikTok DMs for whatever reason. So contact me any way that you'd like to. It's been a beautiful conversation. I appreciate everyone who came by and contributed to the conversation today. YouTube and TikTok on the screen, y'all. Absolutely. It's right there. Right here. Doña the light. That's me. Wise, I'm gonna message you to make sure. I gotta check in on you, boo. You might have to hop on a phone call or something. But it's been beautiful, y'all. I gotta hop off. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Captain, if you're still in here, I hope you have a great day. Anybody who's in here, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope you have a balanced day. I hope the day provides exactly what you need. And I hope that you have some fun today. Whether you're playing video games or, I know I'm going to play a bunch of Uno with my son today because he just learned how to play and he's been loving Uno. So, good day, all time to do the corporate thing. Aw, good day. All right, Wise, I'm still going to message you because I got to check in on you, love. It's been a little while. But anywho, have a beautiful day, y'all. Once again, if you're watching the replay on YouTube, I got to remind myself to say this. Like, comment, subscribe, all the free things you can do that deeply help out my channel. Watch the video to the end, all those wonderful things. But you all have a wonderful day. I will speak to you all soon. I might be on stream again later to play some games, but yeah, have a beautiful day, y'all.